morning. You're waking up to Ireland AM. It is Saturday, the 21st of September. Thank you for joining us.
25 years and one day.
One day old.
This is it. The start of the next 25.
Fresh-faced.
Coming up, all today's top sports stories in a few minutes, including that 1-1 draw between Derry City and Shamrock Rovers at the Brandywell.
And you might not know it from the weather that we've had this week, but the colder months are ahead of us. We'll have advice for boosting your immune system between now and spring.
We speak to the singer who took Croker by storm when she duetted with Coldplay's Chris Martin at their recent sold-out gig. Aby Coulibaly joins us just before 10.
Amazing.
And rumour has it that she's set to pick up a 5th Oscar nomination for her role in her latest movie. We were at last night's Irish premiere of Saoirse Ronan's new movie, The Outrun. You can find out how we got on.
Okay, how was she? Was she deadly?
She was unreal.
I can't wait to see how you got on with her.
Yeah, we're friends now.
They're mates.
We're
mates.
besties, actually.
Yeah, they're getting a spice bag later.
And then to mark Prostate Cancer Awareness Month, we'll be hearing one man's personal story and getting advice on what men should be looking out for.
And later we meet the stars behind the Cork film set in the world of female boxing. That really packs a punch.
All right, let's take a look at your morning papers. We'll start with the Irish Independent. Their headline reads, Pensioners' budget win as Minister pushes back on job seekers. The story details how Social Protection Minister Heather Humphreys wants a €15 rise in the state pension, but insists that the job seekers' allowance should not be increased to the same rate.
The Irish Times leads with Aoife Johnston's death avoidable. The paper writes that a report into the avoidable death of the 16-year-old at University Hospital Limerick in 2022 has warned that it could happen again unless bed shortages and overcrowding in its emergency department are resolved.
The Examiner also leads with that story. Their headline reads, Aoife's death was avoidable. The paper also writes of the report into the teenager's death at University Hospital Limerick.
On to the tabloids, and the Daily Mail leads with catastrophic. They detail the report into Aoife Johnston's death, which claims another tragedy is inevitable if chronic overcrowding is not addressed at University Hospital Limerick.
The Sun is also reporting on that story. Their headline reads, She didn't have to die.
Shock him up, writes the Mirror. The paper reports that a court has heard that former Republic of Ireland star Anthony Stokes was caught with almost €4,000 worth of cocaine in his car after leading Gardaí on a high-speed pursuit.
Stokes, my coke hell, is the front page of this morning's Irish Daily Star. The paper goes on to say the ex-Ireland footballer Anthony Stokes says he turned to cocaine after his career ended.
And the Herald also leads with that story. Their headline reads, Shock and awe of Stokes' cocaine bust.
Now, earlier this week, Amazon's chief executive informed staff that they would be returning to the office 5 days a week, bringing to the end the company's hybrid work policy.
So that got us thinking about work from home and a hybrid work model, the pros and the cons.
So we want to hear from you. If you began working at home during COVID, how's that going for you? And if your job was to tell you that you'd to return to the office, how would you take it? Because I don't know how well that's going to go down. We were talking about this yesterday. And it's like a fart in a spacesuit. It's not going down well.
Oh my God. That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, it's the first thing that came to my mind.
I think it's really going to scare people. Like, people have gotten so used to this. People realise they don't have to work 5 days a week in an office in a corporate environment. It actually, I don't know, I heard that it produced productivity in the workplace, but obviously maybe Amazon are seeing different figures.
Yeah, I know people are going for jobs because one of the perks is remote working right now. You know, like it's a draw. I have to say, one of the cons of not being able to work from home, you don't get your wash on. You get all the washing done when you work from home. You really do. You really do.
The other side of it is the commute is an awful lot easier.
It is.
It's either up the stairs or down the stairs.
And you can keep your pyjamas on, you know?
That's it. Yeah.
I would
Business
never
on
leave
top.
my jammies. I would never leave my jammies. I'd be the person that would just wiggle in my eyes. And then
In bed?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You're the reason why they're all being told to come into work.
Sorry.
Jeff Bezos goes, I know that Brooke Scullion doesn't get out of bed, so all my workers have to come back into the office.
I mean, if you're getting away with it, but you're maybe not.
You're not
That's the
anymore,
thing.
you just said it on TV.
I don't have a mouse to wiggle. I don't do it.
Well, they're going to take the mouse off you now.
Yeah, I know.
But the other side of it as well, how many people were kind of like their childcare costs were lessened because they were able to work remotely. Mm-hmm. You know, they would have to obviously attend Zoom meetings or whatever, but they could still get their work done while looking after the children.
Yes,
at
if
home.
the child was of a certain age, then yeah absolutely. Yeah, that's actually a massive point.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to change for those people at Amazon, and if it starts there, it may have a rippling effect and may affect others. So there could be, an economic side to this that people won't like.
And I understand sometimes like businesses want their employees in, so there's more of a community feel, but I wonder how much of a community vibe there is in Amazon anyway. So I don't know if that's what they're going for.
Okay, well, we'll see. Yeah. Jeff, we need to get you on. We need to talk about this. Anyway, let us know your thoughts on this, because, you know, are you working a couple of days remotely and a couple of days in the office? And how would you feel if you got the call saying, right, from Monday, you're in, Monday to Friday,
I think a lot of people would not enjoy that.
No. And I'll tell you what else I noticed. When you're working from home, the tea and the coffee's better.
You're dead
Absolutely better.
Not like your own kettle.
No.
Not like your own kettle.
Anyway, let us know the swings and the roundabouts, the pros and the cons. How would you react to it? Let us know at 0896 111 111. Now, it was a big night, the League of Ireland Premier Division last night. We'll discuss that match at the Brandywell, as well as all the other today's top sports stories. That's in just a few minutes.
Go Ireland AM. Now, as the weather starts to get colder and we retreat indoors, we're much more likely to come down with seasonal colds and flus.
Here to tell us more about ways to support our immune system and keep bugs at bay is nutritional therapist with Glenville Nutrition, Heather Leeson. Good morning, Heather.
Morning.
Great to see you.
Great to be here.
First of all, what are natural immune boosters?
So there's lots and lots. I'm picking the top 3, and we can do an awful lot with our diet to support our immune system, whether we're fighting off colds and flus or if our immune system is upregulated, like with autoimmune disease. The first one we think about is vitamin D. And that's not even related to what we eat, unfortunately. So we get vitamin D from the sun.
Yes.
And I would say a lot of us this year might be running a little bit low on vitamin D.
We had a good week there, Heather. We had a good week. We got a bit of a top up on our vitamin D, but it's not easy to get vitamin D this time of year in Ireland.
No, it's not. And we know already that at least a quarter of us are deficient, and we're checking levels in clinic, and a lot of people have very low levels.
Okay.
So it is a problem. We need it for lots of different immune functions. Oily fish will have a little bit, egg yolk will have a little bit. For most of us, though, it's something that we should be supplementing over the winter.
And is vitamin D for the absorption of calcium into the bones?
Also. So it does lots of different things. It actually works like a hormone. The big issue is that a lot of us are low, and it's really important. So I tend to use orals, so sprays, or drops rather than tablets. They tend to be a lot better absorbed, and that's something especially for kids. You know, we're facing all of these bugs in school, so making sure that kids get enough vitamin D is important. It's actually a government recommendation that kids below the age of 4.
So it's safe to take a supplement for vitamin D for all ages?
Safe, but you need to be careful. So it's fat soluble, it stays in your system. I would always recommend testing if you can. Test your levels of vitamin D. So then you know, I'm very low, I need to give a little bit more, or I'm okay, I don't need to take it. You'll get a little bit in a multi, but not necessarily enough.
Okay, and you'd find that out through a blood test, is it?
Blood, always a blood test. So GPs can do it, or there's lots of other providers who do it.
Okay, let's move on to gut health. This is huge in recent years, and obviously gut health has an effect on everything else.
Absolutely, but 60, 70, 80% of our immune system is in our gut, those billions and trillions of bugs that we're supposed to look after.
Probiotics, is this?
Pre and probiotics, actually.
Pre and pro?
Yeah. So probiotics are foods that contain the beneficial bacteria that do a lot of the work for us, and prebiotics are their food. So when we think about probiotics, so that's the fermented food, our traditional one would be buttermilk or yogurt, natural yogurt. So that's a really easy way for everyone, if they're not dairy intolerant, to get probiotics, good bacteria into their diet. It's just your standard natural yogurt. I brought a couple of really nice examples in. People who don't tolerate the dairy very well, there are plant-based alternatives. That Irish sheep's milk yogurt is gorgeous, called Velvet Cloud.
So is this for people who can...
That's better tolerated, and kefir as well. These are all traditional to other cultures, not to our cultures. Things like sauerkraut, kimchi, miso paste, and they're really easy to add into the diet. If you're doing a stir fry, salad dressing, you can throw in a little bit of miso paste. If you're making a salad, if you're making a sandwich, you can throw in a little bit of kimchi or sauerkraut.
That's fermented foods, isn't it?
Fermented foods, exactly. So that contains the beneficial bacteria, but they need to be fed, as well. So you feed them with prebiotic food. They're different kinds of fibre, so apples, oats, chickpeas, lentils, beans, peas, any of those pulses, they're amazing prebiotic fibre for our gut. And also resistant starches, something called resistant starches. So when you cook carbohydrates like potatoes or pasta or rice, when they cool, they change their structure. And that means that they are harder for us to digest, but better for our bacteria to digest.
Sorry, actually, can you explain this a little bit more to me, Heather, so that we can't digest it, but our bacteria can?
Exactly. So we're
I'm kind of, but like they're inside of us. So
Yeah.
like,
There's live ingredients in this right now.
So we have billions and billions and trillions of bacteria in there, but if we don't eat the right kind of food, so an ultra-processed diet, for example, will reduce our beneficial bacteria because there's not enough food for them.
Right.
So eating those resistant starches is really helpful, but also just fibre in general.
And you brought in some cold potatoes to show us this. These are cooked and cooled.
So when you're making your dinner, cook extra of your carbohydrate and have it for lunch the next day.
Okay.
And it has changed structure and it's more resistant so it's beating the gut.
How should a cold mash?
I would eat anything then if it keeps me healthy.
You can reheat it, but once it has cooled.
Yeah.
Okay, good to know, because I actually don't know if I would eat cold mash.
Yeah. But even seeds, having porridge for breakfast when it's getting a bit colder now, and adding some seeds in, that's really healthy prebiotic fibre. Top it with a little bit of natural yogurt. That's a fantastic feast for your tummy.
Okay.
And then the third thing that you can also add into breakfast, vitamin C. So everyone thinks immune system, vitamin C, and it is massively important. But we get vitamin C not just from, if I were to say, where do you get vitamin C?
Oranges.
Yeah, actually,
everyone they get a lot of credit.
Oranges. But all of these foods here have more vitamin C. Kiwis, red peppers, kale, broccoli, strawberries, they all have loads more vitamin C than oranges.
God, who was doing oranges marketing? They did a great job.
I think it's because the packaging is always orange.
Yeah.
And then you assume that an orange is highest volume of...
But say throwing some strawberries onto your porridge for breakfast, that's a really lovely immune booster.
And broccoli even?
Broccoli.
It's high in vitamin C.
Pepper, yeah, really high. So most fruit and veg are really good sources of vitamin C. You know, I'm always banging on about fruit and veg, but if you eat your 2 portions of fruit, 5 portions of veg in a day, you will be getting lots of vitamin C and loads of nice probiotic and prebiotic fibre. Now, the other thing to bear in mind is if you cook the life out of your veggies, boil them in loads of water, you're going to reduce the vitamin C.
Yes, which sometimes Irish are quite prone to do.
Yeah, mammy style.
Yes.
Stir fry, steam. And the other thing to bear in mind is that often frozen veg and fruit is actually really nutrient dense, maybe more nutrient dense than something that's been sitting in a warehouse for months on end. Right. So having frozen berries, for example, throw them into your porridge, cook them with your porridge, or frozen veg in the freezer, really good way of bumping up your vitamin C.
Now, if I even feel a tickle or a sniffle, my sister's kids are just back to school, they're coming home, like coughing, everyone's getting sick. If I even think of that, I bang like 2 vitamin C dissolvable tablets into a glass and I pin that. Is vitamin C helpful for a cold?
It is. It doesn't, the research shows it doesn't stop you getting a cold, but it will probably shorten the duration of the cold, okay? But I would say those fizzy vitamin C tablets that you're lashing into, they're full of rubbish. They've got loads of sweeteners. So like with food, right, they're ultra processed. So when you're looking for a supplement, you want something really pure. And if it's fizzy and tastes reasonable, it's probably full of stuff that you don't really want. Yes. No. Yeah, so I tend to use just pure vitamin C powder, and I will put it into a bit of water.
Does it taste nice?
Have a bit of broccoli. Have a bit of broccoli, girl.
Exactly. Make yourself a strawberry smoothie.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, better.
So the effervescent tablets aren't as effective as the powdered form of vitamin C?
They are.
Or fruit and vegetables?
It's not that they might be not as effective, but they've loads of other rubbish in them that you don't want. So you want your supplements to be very pure, and I would always use tablets or not tablets, capsules or liquids or powders rather than tablets.
Okay.
Goodness, okay, you learn something new every day.
There you go.
Thank you, Heather.
There you go.
Now, just quickly, outside of diets and supplements, are there other lifestyle changes we can make to help our immune system?
Yeah, big time. So sleep is a biggie. If you're underslept, your immune system does not work as well, and you don't recover as quickly as well. We all know this. 7 to 8 hours is what we should be aiming for. Okay, which I'm not going to ask you whether you got that. And the second thing is exercise. So moderate exercise 5 times a week, really good for our immune system. Too much exercise is not, though. So I'm thinking of, the marathon's coming up now, for example. So that's a lot of exercise. So those people who are doing a lot of exercise need to look after their immune system a little bit better. So some of these foods.
Okay, great.
There was a graphic on screen there showing bullet points and ways to increase your vitamin C intake. But thank you so much,
Heather, thank you so much.
Great
to chat to you.
Yeah, always insightful.
Now, up next, we speak to another Lucan native, same as me, whose life changed forever when Coldplay asked her to join them on stage at Croke Park.
Singer Aby Coulibaly joins us after the break. Stay with us.
Welcome back. Prior to COVID, our next guest worked in insurance. Now she sings shoulder to shoulder with Coldplay to 80,000 roaring fans, as you do.
If you don't believe us, take a look at this.
Please welcome to the show one of Ireland's fastest rising stars, singer, songwriter, Aby Coulibaly. Good to see you.
Hi, thank you for having me.
How many videos have you seen of that from different angles?
It's crazy. I've seen a few now, yeah.
Aby, my jaw's open just watching that. I can't even imagine how that felt. You opened for Coldplay across all 4 of the Croke Park dates.
Yeah.
How does an opportunity like that come about?
In, I think, January, my manager at the time reached out to me and was like, how would you feel about opening for Coldplay? And I remember just being like, that's a silly question, of course, because I was raised on them. And then I think he regretted saying that to me, because every single day after that, I was like, did you hear anything? Did you hear anything? Until I think the next month, then he was like, yeah, it's confirmed. And I thought it was for 1 night. And then he said it was for 4. And I just cried. So, yeah, it was crazy.
OK, but they hadn't announced it.
Yeah.
So how did you keep a lid on it? Now, how did you keep a lid on yourself?
It was very difficult. Like, the hardest secret I've ever had to keep. Like, every day I wanted to tell people. I just told my sister, my mum, and then I think a few weeks later I was able to, like, announce it, and it felt good.
Yeah. But what's really sweet about this is you didn't go looking for this gig. They came looking for you.
Yeah. I think their agent was looking, anywhere they go, they get a local artist. So I don't know where my name came up in the conversation, but then they were looking for my availability, and that's why I was like, of course. So I don't know where my name came up in that conversation, but they kind of asked for my availability, so that felt really, really good.
It's even cooler not knowing, because then they've actually actively searched for you. Do you know what I mean?
You do know that everybody's going to show up at your future gig saying, I was actually that person. That was me. Can I get a guest list ticket?
I hope so.
I guess now that you can talk about it and it's all hit the press, how has it been?
It's been really crazy. Like, if anything, I just feel really inspired after it. After the last show, I had a conversation with Chris, and he gave me some advice.
Oh, he's Chris now, is he? No, I had a conversation with Chris Martin. Me and Chris.
Just me and Chris.
Yeah.
He was just giving me advice and saying, you know, just make loads of music, pick the best songs. And yeah, that was nice advice. So that's what I want to do now, is just lock in, make music, and that's how I feel, just inspired.
Okay. You didn't sort out car insurance for him or travel insurance for him?
No, I didn't have to, so that was nice. That
because
was really
that's
nice.
what you used to work in insurance.
Yeah, I started working when I was 16, part-time, and then when I was 18, I didn't go to college. I just wanted to work and make money because I wanted to be a musician, but I didn't know how. I guess I just trusted that it would work.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, my last job was insurance, and I left for music, which was scary because, you know, you're going from like a regular paycheck to nothing or very little. So It paid off. It's paying off.
Definitely.
That's your latest video, right?
Yes.
That's not Luke.
It looks like, come on, just the sun came out about 6 o'clock.
That's not Lucan in the summer. No, that's South Tenerife. That's where I love to go to unwind.
Our boys going there and
I'm going there next week. and Brooke has a place down there too.
Nice. Yeah, it's my favourite place ever. It's always really nice weather, and just where I go, it's like a really calm area right
Is that a
beside the sea.
decade?
Yes. Yeah.
All right.
There you go. Aby, now, previous to singing in front of 80,000 people, I want to hone in on this actually. 80,000 people, a lot of people won't ever get the opportunity or experience of doing that. What were your audiences like before, and how do you build yourself up to perform in a massive stadium?
I think I'm so used to like smaller crowds, and I love, this is so funny, I love looking at people when I'm singing, and sometimes they love it and sometimes it makes them really uncomfortable, but like I thrive off of that. So I was worried as well, like, oh, what if I can't do that personal thing with people? Because it was bright outside, I was able to see everyone's face and able to interact with people like I usually do, so that just made it feel like home and like really natural, I guess. So that was nice.
Did it ever get easier after, like the first night?
The
walking
first
out.
night, yeah, it was very scary. It was very, very scary. And then afterwards, I just became more excited to do it, because I think it's something that if you get to do, you'll only get to do it once, but I got to do it 4 times. So every time it became easier. Yeah. But then I guess going on stage with Coldplay, that was a completely different experience.
Okay, can we talk about this, right? Because this was, you were supporting them, then Monday comes round, it's the last gig,
Yeah.
It's sold out, and they come to you and say, right, we want you to come on stage and sing We Pray. Yeah.
That was,
and then it's like they throw down a gauntlet and give you a challenge.
Yeah.
Because they asked you to do what?
To write my own verse for that song on the day, and then to memorise it, and then perform it.
She's checking her pulse. Jesus.
Yeah, it was absolutely crazy. I hadn't slept all night, so it was like 10 in the morning, and I was like trying to get some rest, and my mom came into my room on the phone, and at the time I was like, oh, what is she actually going to wake me up for, because I haven't slept. And she was on the phone, and basically I had my phone on flight mode, so they had to contact her and basically say, she told me, you know, Chris wants you to write your own verse and sing it if you're down. And I actually just jumped up and started laughing, because I was like, are you joking? I thought she was joking with me. It was the best way I could have been woken up ever. And then, yeah, I had to write my verse.
Wake you up, yeah. I had no need for a cold shower.
So, yeah, it was absolutely insane, so bizarre. And then it all happened so fast. Then I wrote my verse, then I went to sound check, did it with them, and I guess before I knew it, I was on stage performing the song.
This is We Pray, their brand new song.
Yeah.
The video was shot in Dublin.
Yeah.
And you're on stage doing your own verse. Did you remember the words?
I did for half of it.
So the answer to that is no.
But I knew if I panicked or if I forgot, then I would improvise it. And when I was in the changing room beforehand, every time I practiced it, because I was so nervous, different words came out. But I was like, that's fine as long as it makes sense, or as long as, you know, something comes out. And that's what happened, which was totally fine. But right before I went on the stage, the tour manager was like, oh, by the way, there's going to be fire behind you, so just know when you feel the heat that it's okay. And I was like, oh. So yeah, it was crazy.
It was. I was there for that gig. I was there on the last night.
Monday?
On the Monday night. And there was a different energy to it.
Yes, there was.
It was absolutely incredible. Now, the energy was because Aby was coming.
Of course. Yeah. Absolutely.
But
no
yeah, there was a different energy. It was their last night there.
Yeah.
And it had been a sensational run.
Now, did Chris give you any influential phrases before you left?
I think just the advice that he gave me was, you know, make loads of music and pick the best songs, because I was just saying, like, you guys don't release bad songs, you never have. And I was talking about his project X and Y, that I grew up on that. And I also told him that I saw a video of him when he's like 18, or like maybe 18, 19, 20 at a festival, and he's like, oh, we're going to be the biggest band in the world. And I was telling him, I think that's so inspirational because that happened. And he was like, oh, I'm actually a little bit embarrassed over that video. And I was like, you shouldn't be, because it's happened. So yeah, it was really nice to have a chat with him.
Massive congratulations for everything, and good luck.
And with the next few few days, he's not going to be Chris, he's going to be Git. You need to tell him that's what we call Chris.
That's his new name, yeah.
That's the name we give Chris's in this season.
Abby, thank you so much.
Thank you for
having
me.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Although I don't think you're going to
No.
Thank you.
You can stream Aby Coulibaly's EP At the End of the Day. It's nice from all good streaming services now. And then you'll want to go to Tenerife and stay in a decade.
Now, last night I spent the evening with Saoirse Ronan. Find out how I got on at the Irish premiere of her new movie a little bit later.
Stay with us. We're live until 12. Yes, good morning. You're tuned to Ireland AM. It's Saturday, the 21st of September. Thank you for joining us.
Now, Saoirse Ronan walked the red carpet at the Irish premiere of her new movie last night, and rumour has it there is a 5th Oscar nomination on the horizon for her. Find out how Brooke got on with the Carlow native very shortly.
Plus, to mark Prostate Cancer Awareness Month, we'll be hearing one man's story of overcoming the disease.
And we meet 2 of the stars behind the Irish boxing thriller that punches above its weight. Join us as we delve into the homegrown indie sports flick Swing Bout.
Now, Brooke, what's for breakfast today? We're starving.
Good morning. We are keeping our bellies warm today. Tara Walker, author of Good Food, No Stress, is in charge of the kitchen.
Yes, yeah, I have a lovely 10-minute soup, and genuinely it's 10 minutes, and it's all store-covered ingredients apart from the onion and celery, but you know, you can even get away without those. Really easy, light, tasty, but kind of filling too.
Love that. Now, we were talking about vitamins and getting sick, and soup is always good to cure lots of stuff.
Absolutely, and it's just like, what do they call it? A penicillin, you know? Yeah, exactly. You know, it's gorgeous. So this is tomato and chickpea 10-minute soup.
Oh, how does that sound, you two?
It sounds to me like the weather's getting cold.
I know.
We're making soup. We're talking about vitamins and... Anyway,
we'll
keep our fingers crossed.
It just sounds delicious.
Another good 24 hours,
yeah.
and we're looking forward to that. Well, let's check in your morning papers. We'll start with the Irish Independent. Their headline reads, Pensioners budget win as Minister pushes back on job seekers. The story details how Social Protection Minister Heather Humphreys wants a €15 rise in the state pension, but insists that the job seekers allowance should not be increased to the same rate.
The Irish Times leads with Aoife Johnston's death avoidable. The paper writes that a report into the avoidable death of the 16-year-old at University Hospital Limerick in 2022 has warned that it could happen again unless bed shortages and overcrowding in its emergency department are resolved.
The Examiner also leads with that story. Their headline reads, Aoife's death was avoidable. The paper also writes of the report into the teenager's death at University Hospital Limerick.
On to the tabloids, and the Daily Mail leads with catastrophic. They detail the report into Aoife Johnston's death, which claims another tragedy is inevitable if chronic overcrowding is not addressed at University Hospital Limerick.
The Sun is also reporting on that story. Their headline reads, She didn't have to die.
Sock him up, writes the Mirror. The paper reports that a court has heard that former Republic of Ireland star Anthony Stokes was caught with almost €4,000 worth of cocaine in his car after leading Gardaí on a high-speed pursuit.
Stokes, my coke hell, is the front page of this morning's Irish Daily Star. The paper goes on to say the ex-Ireland footballer, Anthony Stokes, says he turned to cocaine after his career ended.
And the Herald also leads with that story. Their headline reads, Shock and awe of Stokes, cocaine bust.
No, not to flex too hard, guys.
Go on.
But I had a taste of Hollywood last night and got to meet the one and only Saoirse Ronan down at the red carpet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Her feet back on the ground.
Yeah.
Saoirse Ronan's new film, The Outrun, is coming out, and let me show you how I got on at the premiere.
The urge to drink can come out of nowhere. You think you're doing well. Suddenly you want nothing more than a drink.
So how long do you think you'll stay here for?
I have a life that I have to get back to.
How's Mum?
She offered to put me into her prayers.
We're here at the Lighthouse Cinema. Saoirse Ronan is coming through the door any second now. There is a massive buzz about her new film, The Outrun, where she is a producer. There may be an Oscar on the cards. I'm going to go get into position now. are both producer and star in this film. What can people expect from the Outrun?
Oh gosh, what can you expect? There's a lot of wildlife, there's a lot of seals. It's, you know, it's a very confronting film. There's some very tough moments, I think, that will definitely affect people for different reasons. But it's ultimately very uplifting and very much a celebration of life. So,
I guess it's a very physical role. The character that you play is actually very out of control. How do you prepare for something like this?
I worked with a movement coach called Wayne McGregor, who I'd worked with years before. And we just sort of tried to figure out, especially when Rona is drunk, all of these different scenes that we had, we wanted to sort of give them their own identity. So each sort of physicality had its own, I don't know, its own world, I guess. So I worked on all of those with him. And I guess that just ended up informing how I moved in general. And then I think also just like being out in the open, being in the wind, sort of having to deal with all of these elements, it will affect you physically and emotionally. So, yeah.
And there's a lot of Oscar chat. You're being tipped to get an Oscar nomination. I guess, what would it feel for a story like this one to get that recognition?
It would mean an awful lot to us. I mean, we've been working on it since 2020. As you said, we produced it. And yeah, it's been a real labour of love. It was not a movie that was obviously adaptable or financeable. So the fact that we got it made, the fact that people are even seeing it, feels like a miracle.
Hi.
So how long you been sober?
63 days.
It never gets easy, just gets less hard.
My body is a continent. My breath pushes the clouds across the sky. And the waves roll into the shore in time with my beating heart.
I'm going to give you a fun fact. The first time I ever got grounded was whenever I was 6 and I watched The Atonement in secret. Yes. So intense. I got caught. My mum walked in the library scene.
Oh my God,
The worst possible scene.
What age were you?
6.
You were 6?
Yeah, I know. I shouldn't have been watching
Now,
it.
did you know what was going on?
No, it was just the
I
art
didn't
was
know
all
what was
about-
going on either.
Yeah, did you know what was going on?
No. I was
wondered
just
that.
like, that's a nice dress on Ciara.
Good heavens, you're blushing.
Celia.
And finally, this isn't the only film out this year. You've got another one at the end of the year. There's a lot of Oscar chat for that. How do you feel?
Yeah, I feel great. I mean, this is a kind of roller coaster that I've gone on before. So I always sort of take it as it comes, and I know that it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get to that end point, but I think that kind of discussion is always great press for the film. So,
Listen, thank you so much.
Your son did not arrive at his destination. You're responsible for his safety. Why can't you tell me, where's my boy?
This is for all the parents whose children have been evacuated, and for my boy, George.
Yep, that's right. My new friend Saoirse's movie, The Outrun.
What were you doing watching
cinemas on Friday?
Atonement when you were 6?
Guys, I didn't know. I didn't know that it was so inappropriate. I was 6.
That was dawn.
My granny, it was like one of the only DVDs that she had in her house, and I was like,
Right.
this
She
looks
should have
cute.
known then.
She come in and she says, Brooke, is this appropriate for you? I was like,
I can imagine.
And then the library scene came on.
the library scene's the worst possible scene in the whole. Well, there's 2 actually.
But
it was one of 2 that could have.
I can imagine you.
Oh no, I got in trouble for that because I lied. I knew it was wrong.
Well, you've learned your lesson now, haven't you?
Never
So
watched
did
it
you lie
since.
to Saoirse Ronan as well? Say that you didn't know what was going on.
She goes, no, I did. Well, I knew it was not right. I knew it was a bit raunchy, guys.
How
Knew it
dare
was a
you
bit-
lie to national treasure Saoirse Ronan? That's
I'm
worse
sorry,
than lying to your
Saoirse.
granny.
Don't ruin our
friend.
friendship.
I tell you what, she was definitely into the story. That
Yeah,
you were
she
telling.
was. Yeah, she was invested.
I don't think probably anyone's ever said that to her before.
No, it's the first.
That they got
Well done.
grounded.
You were my
because of her.
first. You were the reason I got grounded when I was 6.
Ooh, the
And
power
she's
that
still
has.
I know.
grounded to this day.
Yes.
Yeah,
because
it's
of
actually
that.
changed the trajectory of my upbringing. It would have been fine.
Only for it's all Saoirse Ronan's fault. Look at you, now you've turned on her. You went from being her best pal to now she's ruined your life.
Okay. And by the way, the movie's good. You enjoyed the movie?
Unbelievable. It's actually, yeah, it's really, really good story. It's actually more of a independent film, so she first time being a producer, and then she's in Blitz later on in the year, which is a blockbuster. She's tipped for an Oscar nomination for both. So
only her 5th, I think. So
or she's 5-time already, so she could be potentially 7-time.
Let's wait and see, and let's keep our fingers crossed.
Wait, 6 times.
It will work out for her.
Sorry, wait, I skipped the number.
It's out from next Friday. Next Friday, you'll be able to see it.
She's already had 4. Sorry,
just get her on.
Billy's
okay. We're just going to teach Brooke how to count to 10.
Yeah.
So
5, 6, 7. All right.
5, 7.
We're marking Prostate Cancer Awareness Month by hearing one man's personal story. We'll see you for that after this break.
And I am. September marks Prostate Cancer Awareness Month, a disease that affects nearly 4,000 men in Ireland every single year.
That means 1 in 6 men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer during their lifetime. One of those is Jerry Kelly, who's here to share his story along with Helen Forrestal, Director of Nursing Services with the Marie Keating Foundation. Good to see you both.
Good morning.
Good morning.
The campaign this year, Helen, we'll start with you, because it's advising us fellas to keep an eye on our pee.
Yeah.
Tell us why.
So the prostate grows around the water pipe or the urethra. And as men get older, it's known as a disease of aging. Same for women. Women go through menopause, men go through a type of andropause, or now we're calling it menopause. So hormonal changes. The prostate begins to grow for men, usually from the age of 50 onwards. That means it grows and it applies pressure to the water pipe or the urethra. So when you're watching your pee, you're noticing for things like, going to the toilet more often during the day, getting up a bit more at night time, maybe having a bit of difficulty or pain on passing urine. It might be that you have to rush off to the toilet, and if you don't get there in time, you leak. Or it might be that you have some hesitancy when you get there. And of course, the flow is always something that any man would be able to identify as being strong when they're young. And if they compared it, it actually gets weaker and slower as the years go by. But I suppose more importantly, blood in urine and blood in semen, unexplained. So they're really the kind of indications around a prostate and pee, the association with how men urinate or pass urine. So it's really, really important. But one thing I would like to clarify, I suppose, and make sure that the message is loud and clear out there, is that prostate cancer may not have any symptoms at all. And that's really important to say. So what I'd be saying to your listeners are, please don't wait for symptoms to occur. If they occur, you obviously go and see your doctor and have a chat with them about the symptoms you're having, but also about the PSA blood test. But there are other indications, I suppose, or risk factors like aging. But having a member in your family, like a father, a brother, a grandfather, or an uncle, or a mother or an aunt who's had, so for a man, prostate cancer, for a woman, breast cancer, they're high risk. It's high risk. So you're 2.5 times more likely to develop a prostate cancer in those kind of circumstances.
If there's history in your family.
Yeah, family history is really important. And more particularly if that cancer happens at a younger age. So in that instance, we would be encouraging people from the age of 40 to 45 to go and have a conversation with their doctor, knowing their family history, about having that PSA blood test.
Okay. Jerry, you might talk to us a little bit about your journey to your diagnosis then after hearing about the symptoms. Did you show all of them?
No, I did not. And the funny thing is, just my wife nagged me to go to the doctor. Now, this is good nagging. And she said...
Isn't it always?
Oh, yeah. Make sure they take all your bloods, she said. And I said, I'll keep some back. Anyway, a week later, I got a phone call and they said, hi, Jerry, your PSA count is high. What's that? Well, it really means we need to take another test. So then I went for the second test and my PSA count was high. It wasn't a glitch or anything. I had a high PSA count. Went to my GP. I love the way Helen says, look at your P, but if you look at your GP, it's a help as well. So my GP, anyway, did what they all do, the digital rectal examination, which is simply a finger up the backside. Sometimes they can tell by the distortions there that you have something amiss, nothing showing there. So she sat down and she said, look, I'll refer you to a urologist. And the journey started there. Now, she did say, in a fairly solemn tone, you're going on quite a journey here. So I said, can you give me something for that journey? You know, I was thinking
you were
anxiety.
You were thinking of anxiety?
I was. Anxiety or depression or whatever. So she did. She gave me a prescription at the time. And I'm sure that and my wife were a great help to keep me afloat through the journey, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. How long did that journey take?
Well, you know, you don't feel weeks skipping along from you get a referral 3 weeks, you go and see the urologist. Then he gives you, he made out a roadmap for me because his learned finger didn't show anything either.
Right.
Probably a more qualified finger. So nothing showing there. So he said, what we'll do is we'll give you a good day out of the hospital. I got 3 things done on the same day. Back to Helen's point, the flow test, urine flow test, right? Then a cystoscopy, which is a camera pushed up your penis up to your piddle pipe until it's inside in your bladder.
Sorry, I'm crossing my legs now, so sorry about that.
I couldn't, because I had to oblige
the
2 nurses and the urologist. But I did clench my eyes. I didn't want to know what was going on behind the curtain, right?
Totally.
And then clench my eyes. If you open your eyes now, you'll see the perfect healthy lining of your bladder on the screen. Wow, it was amazing, yeah. No, I'd never seen it before anyway, but which was great. That was good news. So probably had a bit of fun with the flow test, all right. I couldn't pee in the corner. There's a funnel in the corner of the room, and there was a strange lady in the laptop. I failed to perform after 1 bottle of water. I had 7 bottles of water, and then I did a tundra shower, and she said, actually, your flow is quite good, pointing at the laptop. I didn't splash it. It was software that told us that. So anyway, I was trying to have as much fun as I could with the issue. Like
but
the
clearly,
I can see that. But you need levity in situations just to see you through.
I went in for the MRI, and you know what that sounds like? Boom, 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 boom. And they offered me Johnny O'Donnell music. I said, yes, please, but it never came through. I just got the jackhammer, and I came out of that. A great day's work done. But I was waiting then for the telephone consultation, which is a good idea. You can sit at your kitchen table with your wife and a notepad and speaker on phone or whatever you call it, speakerphone. And he said, look, we have an area of concern in the MRI. Okay. Now, he never mentioned cancer. You notice that? Area of concern. So what next then? Well, he said, look, I would like you to have biopsies done, because he said, I never depend on an MRI. He didn't say he didn't trust them, he wouldn't depend. So it was a further examination, and he said, I just want to mention a few things to you now, like incontinence and erectile dysfunction, because I don't want you hearing that for the first time. Down the road. So that was a bit, we hung up the phone and we made sure there was plenty of ginger ale in the brandy, because we didn't want to get throat cancer on top of everything else. So it was a bit of a shock at that stage. We knew, he knew, but he was ahead of us, obviously, you know. So am I talking too much? along came the all the words I have to learn for this, and you don't have to, the doctors take over, but I had a transperineal biopsy, which is directly in through the skin between your scrotum and your anus, and they get direct hits on your prostate. And she was using the MRI as kind of a sat-nav. As a guide, exactly. She was focusing on the right areas. Then, the next time I sat down with the urologist, his area of concern was replaced with one word: cancer.
Okay. And that was the diagnosis then.
So then, options.
Helen, you may talk to us about the importance of early diagnosis for prostate cancer.
Yeah, I mean, we've said earlier on there that there may be no symptoms. Jerry's actually said he had no symptoms at all, so we need to be quite vigilant. So I would say at the age of 50, every man should go and have an NCT. We like looking after our cars, so we should look after ourselves. But the other point I'd like to make is, please don't be afraid. Part of the Marie Keating Foundation objective is to make cancer less frightening by enlightening. So often, if you think there's going to be something wrong, you avoid, head in the sand and avoid doing it. So what I would say here is, please don't be afraid to have the PSA blood test or to have that chat with your GP, because we know that a study done here in Ireland by David Galvin, who's actually supporting this campaign with us, there was 879 patients in that study. 9 out of 10 of them had no symptoms at all. And out of those 873 or 9 patients, they all presented with early, low-risk prostate cancer, where something can be done at a very early stage and cure is very high. We also know from the national research, research in indicators in Ireland, that the 5-year survival for prostate cancer is really high. It's running at 93–94%. So that's really good. Like, why would you not go and have that PSA blood test?
Absolutely. Yeah.
You heard the word cancer, but you're here talking to us because you're in a very good place now.
Yeah. And part of that good place is that I'm a survivor for a start. And I feel women have such a role to play here. Like my wife urged me to go.
As is the case in so many
And what I'd love to start today is a situation where a daughter, a sister or a mother would give a voucher for a 50th birthday, and there's a €60 voucher, go to your GP and get your test done, you know, because you know,
save your life.
It could save your life. It could, and if you get it early, as you know, it's so. I'm here. I can play golf. I can cycle a bike. I can work away. I'm in great shape. And the mental health aspect as well. I went and I got myself a diversion when you're not supposed to work for 3 months or whatever. And I got an old motorbike and I refurbished it. But it was great to give me a lift. You know, there's a big box outside the door. It's a part for the bike. I had a bit of trouble, all right, in Ireland. This is in Ireland, trying to source men's pads for helping with the incontinence.
Yes.
So I went online and I got myself pads, very good pads, which some men don't know about. They ring me up and say, what's that thing you can get? Very good, sticks inside your underwear, you know. But I mean, we see thousands of ads for ladies' pads, none for men. And even a penis clip, which before you get excited and say that won't fit, it will before you get excited, but it mightn't afterwards. But if you're at a wedding there, Martin, and the toilet is a half mile down the corridor and you're meeting all your friends, you can't cross your legs for half an hour, but you can certainly control what's happening, you know.
So there is help and there's things to help you with it.
There's product out there, and the product, look, one lady rings me and she says, my husband has stopped going to bingo, another one has stopped going tea dancing or whatever. This is all they need to be able to go out.
Pad in the clip.
Yes.
I'll have to stop you there. We're running out of time.
I can
Jerry
see why you're
Hannon,
an ambassador.
Yes,
Definitely
you were
can.
great.
You're a
Thank
great
you so much
talker.
for coming and chatting to us this
And
morning.
we're delighted to hear that you're in a good place.
Can I just mention the blue pin? You know, you're saying having a conversation. That pin can actually encourage men to talk and spark a conversation very organically. So we have pins.
We'll all be
on
having
the
the chats after this. Thank you so much,
And
guys.
prostate piddling and passion.
Okay.
I'll remember that now. Thanks, guys.
Thanks. More information can be found on mariekeating.ie. And remember, if you're concerned about your health, always contact your GP.
Now, after the break, a belly warmer to keep you toasty this autumn. We've Soup in the Kitchen up next.
Welcome back to Ireland AM. Now, what better way to warm up this autumn than with some delicious homemade soup?
Tara Walker from the East Coast Cookery School is here to show us how it's done. Good morning to you.
Good morning, folks. Good morning.
Soup, like you said, a little belly hug.
A little belly hug.
Absolutely. I love soup. Like in my cookbook, I have a whole chapter on soups, and you know, I just love soup. But this one, as lots of my recipes genuinely came about on one of those days where it was cold, I've been out for a walk and I just wanted something fast, filling, nutritious, healthy, and I just went to my store cupboard. So it's all store cupboard ingredients.
Right.
And it's very, very easy to do. So I have 5 minutes today, but this is a 10-minute soup, genuinely. So all I've done for 5 minutes before we started is sweat off my onions and my celery, because you need, hopefully we can get a shot in the pot there. You see that lovely, sticky, caramelised bit? That's, when you're doing such a simple recipe, this is where all of the flavour is.
Okay.
So make sure you keep that in there, if you know what I mean.
How long did you do that for, Sarah?
This is 5 minutes. So celery and onion and a little bit of olive oil and butter. I don't always use olive oil for cooking, but this is because it's a short, quick recipe. The olive oil is lovely in there and it gives lovely flavour to it as well. And I'm going to add my chickpeas in now. Actually, before I do that, I'll just put a little bit of seasoning in. So again, to mix with the nice... So basically when we caramelise, we're drawing out the natural sugars in the food. So that's where we kind of lighten them. You know, a lot of times you'll see recipes for a tin of tomatoes and you have to put a little pinch of sugar in to take away the bitterness, whereas we're making our own natural sugars here. And to mix with that then, some smoked paprika and a little bit of dried oregano. Very, very simple. And give that a little mix through, cook it out for a moment. And then we're going to add our tin of tomatoes in there.
Here's a sizzle.
And just let those come up to a little bit of a kind of simmer. And then I'm just going to swill my, just because I don't waste not, want not, obviously. Just swill that little bit of tomato.
So I'm not the only one who does that.
I do that too.
Do you?
Yeah.
Just to get the last remains out.
Exactly. And this is chicken stock, but really you could use, I think the first time I made it, I used water. That was what I had on hand. As I say, it was genuinely one of those days, hungry, tired, in a hurry, you know. And now my chickpeas, and I'm going to just hold a couple of chickpeas back for a little bit of a garnish later on. And then we're going to turn the heat right up. all we want to do, the chickpeas are already cooked in the can, if you know what I mean. So all we want to do is get the heat through them. We've done all the work already with getting that flavour base in there with the celery and onion and the caramelisation. So now all we have to do, once that comes up to a little bit of a bubble, is blitz it up, and that's how easy it is.
Okay, and you're using the hand
Yeah, little stick blender here for this, and I actually have a nice kind of wide one, which makes life even a bit quicker.
Okay,
but
can you give me some help here? Because if that was me, I know I would be wearing it.
Oh yeah, thank you, good point. So put it down, put it down. I'm always telling you stories, Martin, of things that went wrong for me in the kitchen, but
this is how we learn.
In 2009, I went to Chapter 1 for a stage, fully in my chef's whites. Went to use a Thermomix for a red pepper coulis. I'll never forget it. I was the only woman there with about 20 male chefs. I forgot to put a little lid on it, and the red pepper coulis all over the ceiling. So with this, just go down below the surface.
It's just, I know, I wear it.
Yeah, that's the one thing you don't want to happen, like your first day on the job.
Yeah.
In the whites.
I was mortified, yes. But anyway, so look, I always say to people with soups and stews and things, less liquid, because you can always add more liquid in, but if you over dilute, you can't take the liquid out. Exactly. So once I started blending there, I could see I needed a little bit more liquid. And that's it, folks.
That is it.
And let's just garnish it up nicely. So I have a nice bowl
so you're
here.
saying it would take 10 minutes, and that 10 minutes is literally allowing the onions and the celery to sweat.
Exactly. That's the main kind of part of the work. Now, you can lighten it up even a little bit more, but for me, because this is kind of coming into sort of colder weather, autumn type of dish, I think it's lovely to have it, you know, hearty. And then I'm going to add a little bit of cream into it.
Oh, hello.
Just for a nice little softness. Just to kind of mellow it out a little bit. Then my few little chickpeas that I had left in my tin. And I think it's nice just for a little bit of bite, and people can mix those through and they get a taste of them. Then my gorgeous olive oil. This is a Spanish olive oil, but produced by people who live in, I think it's Athboy, County Meath anyway. Oh, wow. And it's gorgeous flavour.
I've heard you say this, and I've heard other chefs say this as well. Spend the money on good olive oil.
Definitely, definitely. And I normally, and that's why I made the point even earlier, I normally don't cook with the olive oil because it burns at a low temperature and it ruins it. But when I was only doing a short little 5-minute caramelisation there, it's fine. And here is some baby coriander, which is from McCormick's Farms. As always, I like to use as many local ingredients as I can. And that is our soup of the day.
Delicious.
There we go.
Looks
free to try.
Enjoy. We've got spoons there.
Amazing. All right. I was nearly playing the spoon. While we're tucking in, full recipe details are up on our website. I'm sorry, I pointed at you with the spoon. As ever, you can find more from Tara on her website, tarawalker.ie.
I'm going to hold it in the spoon before I eat it. Up next, we meet the Irish stars behind the boxing thriller Swing Bout. Stay with us for that after this break.
Oh, that's the business.
You're very welcome back. Our next guests went from having little to no experience in boxing to walking and fighting like professionals in the electrifying crime thriller Swing Bout, which is filmed beneath the stands of Porky Queef.
That's not me and Shiva, by the way. Not bad joke. Actors Ciara Berkeley and Chrissy Cronin join us in the studio. But before we get to meet them, let's take an exclusive sneak peek.
Oi, Ray. Is my mum here yet, do you know?
Your mum?
Yeah, Ray. Her mummy. Who else is going to wipe her for her? What'd you say? Save it for the ring, girl. You're going to need it.
Move them to a different dressing room.
Don't start. I've had enough with this lot already. These are all swing bouts, and the Caseys have yous in here, okay?
Yeah. Keep smiling, pal, because when that bell rings, you're going to have very little to smile about.
Oh, wow.
I'm intimidated. I'm intimidated.
Oh, my goodness. Girls, welcome to the show.
Yeah.
Thanks. Good morning.
We're friends in real life.
Yeah. Well, for people looking in, I guess we've just seen a bit of the trailer there, or a moment from the scene. What can people expect from Swing Bout?
They can expect an indie film. That doesn't really look like an indie film.
Yeah.
Some laughs,
some intense moments.
It's
a good time.
Yeah, it's a mental roller coaster with lots of deception and swearing and fighting, but not the fighting that you'd expect from a boxing film.
Okay, swearing and fighting, all my favourite things.
Yeah.
So how much did you know about boxing before you got this role?
Nothing. No, and I'm ashamed to say that because I really didn't know anything about it, and much less about female boxing as well.
Okay.
But there was so much research that went into our roles, and we were teamed up with some really great trainers like Terry O'Neill and Liam O'Griffin. And so from that, we just became so immersed in it and learned so much, which was a really lovely experience.
Yeah, for sure. So I'd done a little bit in school in transition year, and I really liked it, like loved boxing. So I was like, yeah, okay. Like, you know, thought I had a little bit of experience under my belt, but then when it came to training, I nearly got sick after my first training session. I was like, okay.
It's grueling.
Yeah.
It is.
I mean, we were chatting off air there, and we were saying you had to train like really physical for this. It was a really physical role to undertake, and I guess how many months of that went into before the filming?
Yeah. Well, so I think maybe for me, like maybe a month or something. So Mara said to us, he really just wanted us to get a feel for it. So we weren't training to show us actually fighting on screen, because I think that would like in fairness to boxing, like you can't do it for a month and be like, yeah, I can do it. No. It took a lot long, it would take a lot longer.
Yeah.
So it's more just to get like the feeling for like how a boxer moves, to make it look like we knew what we were doing.
You never actually had to hit each other.
No. We would do a lot of like training for shadow boxing and learning how to box for camera, like you were saying. But I remember one time when we were training, my trainer accidentally, like, he didn't even tap me in the face. It was like he had the pads like this, and he accidentally just like nudged me in the nose, and I was like, ow! Why'd you do that? That was so sore.
How dare you?
Don't touch me. Yeah. He was like, you'll never make it as a boxer, sweetie.
Pretty full contact sport.
Just a little bit. Yeah.
But were you training with professionals beforehand?
Yes.
To really, and were you kind of like trying to model your movements off of them?
Yes. Yeah. My coach, Sinead, the producer, who also played my coach in it as well, the coach we had was Terry, and he is an amazing boxer and has been doing it for so long. And he's also an actor, so he kind of knew what would be needed in terms of our training and how comprehensive it had to be, because he was like, you just kind of have to do enough to get you to look like you could potentially knock someone out. You don't actually have to be able to do it, which was a great relief for us. But yeah.
Now, the whole thing was filmed underneath the stands of Páirc Uí Chaoimh. So how was that as an experience?
It was interesting for sure. Like, yeah, I think Morris kind of wanted to create this feeling of, you know, you're like caged animals trapped in one place. Obviously it came down to budgeting limitations as well, but I think like in filming, like limitations breed creativity, like so it was handy as well in some ways as an actor being in one place, because you know we don't shoot in sequence, so you often have to think about like, okay, where am I now in the story? But like just being in one place really helped with, you know, taking that element out of things.
Yeah. And the whole team at Páirc Uí Chaoimh was so lovely and so accommodating, and they were so generous to give us the space. I mean, it was 21 days, but it was just about enough to shoot this film, but it was such an amazing experience. We were going to have to build, I say we, with
our own hands.
The crew were going to have to build a set from scratch.
Boxing,
you know, I was there.
You're in construction now. You know. But I do feel with movies like that are all set in one location, it becomes a bit of a pressure cooker for the viewer at home as well. Do you think that's the experience the viewers will get of this movie?
Yeah, I think so. From what I've heard from people, it's a very anxiety-inducing film to watch, because we're just kind of, there's so many shots of us crossing each other in corridors, and you're kind of walking around this maze, which is kind of what it's like backstage at a boxing match. You know, everyone's going to see the medic, or everyone's going in and out of getting changed, or all this kind of stuff. So it's very like lots of twists and turns, and you kind of never know what you're about to walk in on when you make another crossing. Yeah.
Now, Ciara, this is your first major feature, but you did have a role in Normal People, which blew, Normal People took world by storm. The Kardashians were watching it. Do you think that's where the casting director knew you from, or was there a hint of like the same people working on the same shows?
Well, I think for Bout, they kind of cast it internally a bit. Like, we had some great agents at the time who were really, you know, they were really lovely and let us like tape for it and things like that. So they were, kind of doing it themselves, which was a massive undertaking. So they were kind of going through all the tapes themselves and putting out the casting briefs there. But yeah, who knows? I'm not sure. Yeah.
And how was it then playing Tony, and what was your inspiration for playing her?
In terms of my kind of character inspiration for Tony, I took so much from the protagonist from Fish Tank by Andrea Arnold, because I think Maurice's original idea for Tony was that she was a lot older and had kind of quite physically been through a lot. Like, she kind of bore the hardships of everything she'd been through on her skin, and she had, you know, done time, or, you know, just had a really, really rough life. And so I kind of wasn't what he had expected, so we decided to portray that struggle, but in a far more internalized way, and kind of make her a little bit younger. And like the protagonist in Fish Tank, she's just someone who's really lost her way a bit, and she kind of can't find a proper mother figure or a proper guidance in life. And so she's just trying to do the right thing, or what she feels is the right thing to her, and that is kind of Tony's journey into boxing. It kind of gives her a moral compass, and it gives her a purpose in life.
Now, Chrissy, you're playing the anti-hero, but Vicious Vicky isn't exactly a typical bully, you would say. How did you rip that character apart?
I guess, like, you know, if we see bullies in real life, like, you often think, like, what happened to them to make them like this? So I guess I kind of looked into her backstory, or like thinking, like, you know, we see a little bit into her home life, and it's like, okay, you know, what made her this way? So for me, it was trying to portray this actor this boxer who has like all this bravado, who kind of in a way is acting, and then we also see her break down as well and see her vulnerable side. So it was kind of tracking, like, okay, when do we see the real her come through, and then when do we see the bravado Vicky? So yeah.
And you mentioned earlier on that you didn't really know much about women's boxing, but obviously it's huge at the moment with the likes of Katie Taylor, you've got Kelly. Did you just delve more into that? Like, are you more into the scene now?
Yeah, 100%. Absolutely. It was kind of, we sort of developed parasocial relationships with these boxers. Like, I remember there would be so many videos that I'd be watching of Katie Taylor boxing, and Clarissa Shields, and Christina Hammer, and so many amazing performances in all of these matches, and particularly, especially, for example, Clarissa Shields and Christina Hammer, like the feud that they have between them, which we kind of had to emulate between Tony and Chrissy. Like, at the end of the day, these people might actually not really hate each other, but they do have to keep it up for everybody. And I always find that element of boxing really interesting as well, like the performance for the spectators and the fans.
The pantomime, the drama of it all.
360.
Beautiful.
Oh, guys, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you for having us.
And a reminder that Swing Bout is open in selected cinemas right now.
And there's lots more still to come. Stay with us. We're live in your living room until 12. Now, lots of you are texting us from the gym today, so if you're on the treadmill, fair play to you, keep going, you're doing great. You're waking up to Ireland AM.
Yeah, how many kilometres have you got in already? Keep going.
Yeah.
Just 5, 6 more, I don't know.
High knees. Yeah.
Oh, high knees. Oh, really? Are you going for the incline?
Yeah.
Yeah, put that incline
on.
Yeah, good luck to you. Right, don't get sick when you're watching us, please. We've got food coming up. Still to come, Britain's Got Talent star Keane Kinsella is back with a brand new fan-flippin-tastic show. We'll be talking acrobatics with him very soon.
Yes, and now think Ralph Lauren, Tommy Hilfiger or Abercrombie and Fitch. In fashion, we are taking on the preppy trend, and that's coming up in about 45 minutes.
All right, Brooke, we've had the soup, but we're still starving. What are you feeding us now?
Still starving? Well, at last, our bellies are going to be taking a trip to Mexico in a bit later, because Tara Walker is still here, author of Good Food, No Stress. You've stayed with us. Martin's starving.
I love the way Martin said, what are you feeding us? Well, are you going to cook it?
Very little is the answer to that. What are you going to be making?
I'm going to do some lovely pulled chicken quesadillas. So I have, the chicken is done in a pressure cooker, but you can do it in a slow cooker, oven, regular pot. And then we're going to serve it up with some lovely chipotle mayo dressing and in quesadillas. Really tasty. Lovely Saturday night one, maybe with a cold beer.
Delicious. My favourite. Is that good enough for you, Martin?
That sounds great to me. I'll have two of them. All right, let's take a look at your morning papers. We'll start with the Irish Independent. Their headline reads, Pensioners' budget win as Minister pushes back on job seekers. The story details how Social Protection Minister Heather Humphreys wants a €15 rise in the state pension, but insists that the job seekers' allowance should not be increased to the same rate.
The Irish Times lead with Aoife Johnston's death avoidable. The paper writes that a report into the avoidable death of the 16-year-old at University Hospital Limerick in 2022 has warned that it could happen again unless bed shortages and overcrowding in its emergency department are resolved.
The Examiner also leads with that story. Their headline reads, Aoife's death was avoidable. The paper also writes of the report into the teenager's death at University Hospital Limerick.
On to the tabloids, and the Daily Mail leads with catastrophic. They detail the report into Aoife Johnston's death, which claims another tragedy is inevitable if chronic overcrowding is not addressed at University Hospital Limerick.
The Sun is also reporting on that story. Their headline simply reads, she didn't have to die.
Sock him up, writes the Mirror. The paper reports that a court has heard that former Republic of Ireland star Anthony Stokes was caught with almost €4,000 worth of cocaine in his car after leading Gardaí on a high-speed pursuit.
Stokes, my coke hell, is the front page of this morning's Irish Daily Star. The paper goes on to say the ex-Ireland footballer Anthony Stokes says he turned to cocaine after his career ended.
And the Herald also leads with that story. Their headline reads, Sock and awe of Stokes' cocaine bust.
Now lots of texts have been coming in.
Yes. Earlier on in the show, we talked about Amazon are stopping their hybrid work scheme, which people had to commute into work for 2 days and then most of the time stay at home for 3 days. So we're scrapping that. And a lot of you have been getting in touch to share how you feel about that.
Yeah.
Now, Shelley said, I'd want to go somewhere else. There should be a balance, work from home, and a few days a week allows a life balance.
Yeah. Mary says, I'm a mum of 4. I work 2 in the office, 3 days at home. If it ever went to 5 in the office, I'd have to rethink my job. On the 2 days in the office, I have a 60-kilometre commute each way. So it's a long day. On a day where I really need to concentrate, I stay home. My boss tells me to. The office can be very distracting.
OK, well, at least her boss is accommodating for that one then, isn't it? Jean says, time, money and energy wasted on commuting. Hybrid 2 days a week in the office, 3 days a week at home makes it tolerable.
Yep, that's right. And Ross says, I love working from home. It gives me great flexibility and allows me to work from the west of Ireland, where there is less jobs in my field.
Yeah.
OK, it's quite fascinating. You had a very interesting point.
Now, maybe the more cynical minds among us would say that this is an intentional move by companies of trying to trim their workforce instead of handing out redundancies.
Right.
So if they make people all come back to work, like a few people have texted in, I would definitely have to move to another job, is what they're saying. So that could be...
That's the general theme.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Some are saying, but that's the job, so I'd have to respect it. But generally, the people are saying we'd have to give up the gig.
And just very quickly, we have a message in there from Nicola that says, quick message on the prostate cancer segment. If you missed it, please go back and look at it, because there's a lot of information that was spoken so clearly and really made relatable. Love how natural he spoke. My dad, unfortunately, won't be a survivor of the dreaded prostate cancer and doesn't speak much about it, but I will pass on this interview for sure. So Nicola writing in. Brilliant segment there.
It was
if you want to
great.
go back
Jerry
and check it out.
Yeah, you should check it out, guys. Now, after the break, it's time for Martin and Brooke to get their stretch on. We're going to meet Britain's Got Talent alum, Cian Kinsella, and his band of acrobats. Yeah, get stretching, guys.
No, nobody told me this.
That's news.
Zach Murphy here, CEO of Dream Factory, the largest, best and most powerful corporation in the world. Let's get ready to suck.
Wow. Wow, guys, well done.
Hi.
Oh my goodness.
That was the incredible acrobatic talents of Lauren Holohan and Nat Whittingham, cast members of the brand new show Dream Factory, which is hitting the Civic Theatre in a couple of weeks' time.
Now, the show is the brainchild of Britain's Got Talent alumni and dance sensation Cian Kinsella, who joins us now.
Hi, thanks for having us on, guys.
Good to see. It's good to see that since Britain's Got Talent, you've toned things down a bit.
Toned it down and actually brought some talent in. Aren't they brilliant? There are 2 of the 10 cast members that we have. So we've gymnasts, acrobats, musical theatre, puppeteers, comedy, amazing singers.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, since you were back with us since Britain's Got Talent, how has life been since?
Yeah, well, that's 2017. So Lords of Strut kept going as a double act. We did international touring, and then pandemic, this, which was already an idea, which we've been working on for 5 years, just built, and we had like some development days and creative writing sessions, and just kind of built the concept of what Dream Factory is, and it grew into this large-scale musical which is on in the Civic Tala actually tonight. Last night we did a dress rehearsal in front of an audience. I had this great idea that how about we'll do a dress rehearsal and we'll invite in 250 people, which is, we were like, yeah, sure. Normally a dress rehearsal you might have a couple of friends in or something. We had 250 people in last night, so it was almost like an opening night, and it went like, it was bananas. It was brilliant.
Well, we're looking at some clips. It is.
Wow.
Yeah.
Bananas.
Yeah, it's a huge show. It's for everyone. It's for family audiences. Last night there was people there from 5 years old to 85, and everybody was laughing and up on their feet and clapping, and yeah, it's brilliant. It's electric.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to imagine what it is like in the creative room, and you're trying to come up with this stuff.
Yeah, pretty silly. Yeah, pretty silly. But there's a few different ways. So we had themes. We wanted to make a show this time around that was addressing the climate crisis.
Okay.
We wanted to have activist, ecological message, but we wanted to make a show about now. So those are all kind of really big things, and they can be heavy, and they can be boring. But first and foremost, we communicate through comedy and physical comedy. So we had to kind of bring it all in there. So although those are the messages, you know, it's about corporate greed. It's about a villainous CEO who I got to play, Zach Murphy. Playing a villain is the best. And this massive, powerful corporation, it's not too dissimilar to the world that we live in, really, they're destroying the town. And then it's about a family who have kind of been torn apart by the corporation, having to become friends again and listen to each other and come back together. And through this journey of the family, they also may or may not take down the evil villain.
Oh, no, it's the villain. There has to be a hero. There has to be a hero. And we got a hero family.
We do, yeah. And our hero's played excellently by Aoife O'Sullivan from Cork, and she's an absolute star. She's got a voice of an angel. She's brilliant, yeah, she's really brilliant. Yeah, and she was on fire last night. She had a great night, yeah.
Fantastic.
Now, we've seen you from Lord of the Strut. Is it weird going from performer to producer?
Well, Lord Strut was always really DIY. It was always the two of us, and we did everything. Like, we booked the tours. Like, we had agents and managers and people in different things, but really we were across all areas. We did the costumes, we did the props, we wrote the script, we got the music together, we booked the tours. So it's not a huge step for me, but the size of this, you know, there's like 25 people working on the show. There's like a team of props people, there's a team of costume people. So our co-creator and director in this show, Jennifer Jennings from This Is Pop Baby, she's amazing, and she's done a brilliant job on the show. And really, we've been collaborating on this show to get it to where it is for 5 years. But she's used to creating big spectacle shows, like people will know Wake, they'll know Riot, they'll know a lot of the This Is Pop Baby shows. So they're used to having like this. It's really a machine. It's kind of like you know, West End size show. You know, it's big show. Departments are all in action. You might see 10 people moving around on the stage, but there's another 20 people behind the stage all moving around.
It's like a production like this. You only see what's in front of the camera, but there's an awful lot of people working.
I know, and we just get all the glory, don't we?
Look, there's loads of themes about sustainability and the world, and I guess you've got two acrobats with you. You've got Lauren and Nat here.
And we're not dealing with muck either.
No.
We've got champions here.
You were a European champion.
Not a European champion. I competed in the European Championships.
You were a European
champion. I came fourth in one European Championships. Yeah.
What kind of level of training does it take to keep the show going every night? That's a lot on the body.
It's been full out. We've been just fully immersed in the life of the show and rehearsals and everything. It's been taking over our lives in a very good way. Yeah.
And I'm sure you're the exact same with routines and stuff?
Yeah, similar. So my thing was more trampoline, and I competed at quite a high level with trampolining in the UK, but then also got into circus from a very young age and did a similar amount of training and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And they're both very like bashful. Like
I can tell.
How honest they are.
Like there's a move. The first big wow move in the show is Nat and another acrobat. It's called bunking, where they both hold hands and they toss Lauren up into the air. She goes like double the height of a person.
We couldn't do it here.
We couldn't. No, we would have done it here. We didn't have the height. She does a full split. It's like it's a massive cheerleading move. She goes like flies up into the sky, does a double splits, and the lads catch her. So and that is like Olympic level trampolinist. Like he just like it's like he's flying. We've got a full Olympic sized trampoline in the show, and just like up and down and double rotations, and it's unreal. Like so as an aging acrobat, I was like, we need to get some real talent in the room here. Oh, my back, sir, I can't do it. Let's get somebody good at it in.
And the beautiful aerial as well from Kate. She goes up on the hoop and it's gorgeous.
Guys, this seems amazing.
It sounds absolutely brilliant.
It is, and I'll just give a big shout out to our choreographer Deirdre Griffin and our composer GMC Beats from Cork. Gary is producer of the hit The Spark from the Cabin Crew.
Oh yeah,
amazing!
So they're all going to come up and watch it, I think, next weekend. So Gary wrote all the songs with us, so we'll be in the Cabin studio. The songs in the show were recorded in the Cabin studio in Cork.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Listen, thank you so much.
Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having us.
Congratulations, that was brilliant. Reminder that you can catch Keane's show Dream Factory at the Civic Theatre as part of the Dublin Theatre Festival from the 25th of September to the 5th of October. Tickets are available at dublintheatrefestival.ie.
Up next, a taste of Mexico in the kitchen. We're serving chicken quesadillas after this break. See you then.
Welcome back. Tara Walker has stuck around to take charge of the kitchen again this morning. We're just lucky because we're all absolutely ravenous.
We are. My stomach thinks my throat's being cut. Our taste buds are travelling to Mexico now with some chicken quesadillas.
Yes, so pulled chicken.
Right.
Yeah, which is a really gorgeous. This is a recipe I've been doing for a while now, just at home for ourselves. My daughter loves it. It's a real crowd pleaser. So today I've done it in the pressure cooker.
Okay, what if you don't have a pressure cooker?
So, yeah, absolutely. Into the oven at 180 for about half an hour covered. Or you can do it in the slow cooker for an hour and a half to 2 hours. Really, you know, it's very versatile.
Okay.
What I love about the pressure cooker is that it keeps it really, really nice and moist, and it halves the cooking time. So I don't use my pressure cooker loads, but when I do use it, I'm delighted I have it. You know, that kind of way. It halves the cooking time, which in the winter I just think is brilliant when you get home and you want something hearty, you know.
Yep.
So look, I've chicken thighs here now. I'm not cooking them in this pot. I just want to show you how you're going to treat them. So I've got the typical sort of Mexican spices, cumin. I have some dried oregano next, and I'm not measuring these, but I have the measurements on the recipe. It's about a half teaspoon of smoked paprika and a full teaspoon of the others, more or less. Garlic granules, which are just lovely in this. And then a little bit of chipotle paste, which is a lovely smoky kind of chili.
And is that spicy?
No, it is a little bit spicy, but it's not like that real top note of spice.
Okay.
It's kind of more smoky, slightly more mellow. And then a little bit of tomato puree. So now, if you wanted to do this in the pot, you could just mix it all up really well, or you could put it into the oven. As I say, just kind of combine it a little bit. You could throw your, plastic gloves on or whatever, and then just cover it in a little bit of chicken stock. Even I've done it with water because you've so many nice flavours in there, you know.
Already. Okay.
And so you're just going to say goodbye to that for a little while you get the rest of your ingredients on.
Great.
So we have, I have a griddle pan here, and I have some wraps. And I'm just going to start melting the cheese. So quesadilla is obviously cheese, queso, melted onto your wraps or your tacos, and I'm just going to melt that down here. We'll start with that first.
So there's only one half getting the cheese.
Exactly, because I'm going to put the chicken on the other half, and then I can fold over and get both sides nicely scorched. So next up then, a nice little sauce to go with it. So traditionally, I know like sour cream would be used a lot in Mexico, but I love this smoked onion mayonnaise. I don't know the people who make it or anything, but it's absolutely gorgeous. It's an Irish product from County Galway. You'd say it better than me. Bouillon Blasta, I think.
Bouillon Blasta.
Bouillon Blasta, yeah. Okay. And then I have some chipotle paste going in there as well. And a little squeeze of lime, yeah. So I have made this with sour cream and it's lovely, but the flavour from the smoked onion mayo is just absolutely gorgeous.
And a squeeze of lime as well. See, a lime is very... You need that for Mexican food, don't you?
Definitely.
The lime into anything.
The freshness, kind of, yeah. So now, let me see how my wraps are doing, because I want to turn them in a couple of moments. Yeah, they're coming along nicely. So let's have a moment now to look at the chicken. So the pressure cooker has been on for about 20 minutes, and then I've just left it on, you can do a little keep warm setting, which is really nice on a pressure cooker or a slow cooker as well, because it lets your meat just rest down nicely. And... hopefully we can see this now on camera. So you have that lovely kind of...
Oh, look.
It should just fall apart. And these are chicken thighs today, but you can do it with chicken breast. I've done it with chicken breast many times.
Yeah, breast would be easier, I suppose, with no bones.
It is, but there's no bones in the chicken thigh fillets either. But there is more flavour. And look, I love this with the pressure cooker. It just keeps all of those juices in so nicely.
With something like thighs or with legs, you will get, the chicken might be dark in places. You won't get that white that you'll get from the breast.
A lot of people wouldn't have liked that. Like, I used to find it quite difficult, say 10 years ago, to buy chicken thigh fillets because people were so used to having breast meat. But I think people have changed, because nearly any supermarket now you can get it, apart from, and obviously your butchers. But I think people appreciate it more. There's much better flavour from it. And it's when you're treating it this way, like, that the fat has rendered out. You're not going to get any, like, sinew or anything like that. Look at that. It's just falling apart there. And I purposely brought my really old chopping board because it has, see this little rim on it?
A rim.
So you can catch all those nice juices. So just make sure you keep your juices. And I did this in a class last week, an online class called Healthy Batch Cooking. And it's brilliant because you can keep the chicken in the juices then in a Tupperware container, container in your fridge or your freezer, and come back to it. And it's gorgeous, not just as quesadillas, but you can do it with, a nice rice dish.
I never considered that the rim on the chopping board had a purpose.
Did you not know that?
Never my whole life.
Yeah, it's to catch. It's to catch any. Well,
I use it for resting roast meat, like say a roast. Yeah.
Yeah,
you're blowing my mind here.
Chicken,
Honestly.
Well, you wouldn't be making chicken anyway.
No, I wouldn't. In fairness, no.
And that's true. That is true.
Can I just ask a very silly question?
Yes, of course.
That might be as silly as I think it might be. But while it's sitting there, is it still cooking?
No, well, it's resting more so than cooking. Yeah, yeah. While it's in here, it's just the temperature has come down quite a lot. So not so much cooking, but resting, which is really nice. And it'll hold its heat as well. And here is a little bit of the chipotle sauce.
Oh, no.
And OK, so I've been taking orders, like a short order cook. You're having no avocado and you're having no chicken.
For me, and Shiva wants the avocado.
And what about lettuce? Lettuce, OK? Yes, OK, great stuff.
The neck was
there we go.
Orders,
I know.
Sorry, Tara.
No, I'm laughing. It's just funny. And then we're going to go with some avocado for Shiva. And I always have to bring a couple of avocados because you never know till you open them.
You were dead right. Oh, that's
so this is actually a lovely one. Yeah, I got a perfect one. So I'm just going to scoop it out.
Yeah.
And obviously the other
we're
side.
Just very fussy.
Yeah.
Treat yourself.
And
well, now.
Just nice few slices to go in.
Delicious. Load it up with the avocado.
There we go.
Fabulous.
And then I have a nice little bit of the coriander, the baby coriander leaves again, which I had earlier.
Baby coriander.
And yes. Just a nice little bit of extra flavour there. And we give you, are you OK with the chipotle dressing?
Yeah,
lovely.
Yeah. Love a bit of sauce.
Let's pop that in. And a little bit of lettuce as well. I mean, really anything wrapped in a wrap with melted cheese. And that's a good quality melted cheese.
A winner.
It's a mature cheddar. It's just going to be absolutely delicious.
This could be an enchilada if you wanted it to be.
A taco.
Yeah.
Let's go. So let's slice this up now. And it is one of those things like you need to put a bib on or a napkin or something on your front.
We didn't bring our bibs. So I didn't bring my bib today.
No.
So let me get my serving plate. And here's the napkins for you.
Ah, you see, it's down there for dancing.
You really are thinking of us. Yeah, she really is thinking of us today. This one for you.
Thank you.
Have a little taste of this, Martin.
Thank you very much.
And Shiva, actually, yours is ready now, so I'll pop yours on there.
Made to your taste.
Yeah, I know.
Notions. Honestly,
notions.
Yeah. People will start saying no to come into us now once they hear that we're demanding.
That's the chefs now. I'm not going in there. Not going in any near those two. She wants avo, he doesn't.
Yeah.
Give it up.
Right, we'll have a quick taste.
Yes, and mind yourselves, your top. So Martin on that side, Shiva on that side. There we go.
Great, thank you, Tara.
You're welcome.
I've got to speak first, don't I? Full recipe details are up on our website, or as ever, you can find more from Tara on her website, tarawalker.ie. Are you a happy girl?
That is delicious. Thank you so much, Tara. After the break, looks that'll have you resembling a Tommy girl. Sorry, I'm still eating. We're talking Preppy styles at the catwalk next. So good.
Really.
Fall to Arash. Now, social media has been dominated by the preppy fashion trend this summer, but how do we keep this style alive coming into the cooler months?
Here to show us how to master the preppy look this autumn is stylist Emily O'Donnell. Good morning.
Good morning, ladies, and happy birthday, Ireland AM.
Woo! A day over 25, well, just one.
Yeah, it's great to be here today for the birthday celebrations. I'm actually 8 years here, would you believe? So, yeah,
my goodness.
Feeling old.
So talk about preppy style, Emily.
So, Shiva, we've seen a bit of a resurgence of the preppy trend on the international catwalks, and I love to take inspiration from them. But it's not as we have seen it before. I suppose we previously associated it with things like blazers, which are now a mainstream part of everyone's wardrobe, and maybe varsity jackets, which are great, but unless you're playing for like the NFL or you're really serving a look at Fashion Week, they can be a little bit unwearable. So what we've seen come through is a looks preppy trend. So it's really wearable. It's incorporating things that we probably haven't seen maybe since childhood. We're seeing a lot of corduroy, we're seeing a lot of herringbone prints, a lot of kind of nice texture and pearl details. So I actually think this interpretation is really wearable, and I've styled it in ways that people can wear for work or for every day or for occasions.
Let's have a look.
Natalia's up first.
So Natalia's up first, and she's opening up in Rant and Rave, and they are one of my favourite Irish design brands. Everything from the price to the quality to the design and craftsmanship is impeccable, and it's lovely to see affordable style from Irish designers. The best thing about this look, I think, is the polo neck. So if you want to buy into the preppy trend and you don't want to invest too heavily, a polo neck is a really good base piece to start with. I've gone for a little bit of a play on the two most popular colours of the season, which are navy and wine, here with this. And to make it a little bit more preppy and elevated, I've put the sweater vest over it. That's a really preppy trick. You can style it with, like, you know, a shirt underneath. There's so many different ways to style one of these sweater vests, and they just look really cool and very kind of preppy but wearable. Again, you could wear this to work, you could wear it to so many different things, but what I love about it is the cords. I'm actually rocking a pair of cords myself. Cords are back. They are replacing jeans for autumn, winter, and we have seen cords on all the preppy catwalks. These ones are actually a cropped cord from Malraux Design, which is of course Rant and Rave, and they are coming up a bit shorter. So I've styled them with the flat shoes here today from Pennies, but just if you were going to wear them and take the look from day to night, I would stick on a heel or a boot. But what we have seen is the resurgence of the ballet pumps. They're coming in on all the catwalks, so they're sending the models down in flat shoes this season, and I suppose they're a really nice, cute, preppy way to kind of get a look, and also very fashionable and functional.
Are they socks or tights?
She's wearing socks underneath, just for a little bit of, just for a little bit of comfort.
Okay.
Well, I'll tell you the real reason. It's because she's got them for a look too. But
Okay, there we go.
Trade secrets, Shiva.
So Michelle.
So we've taken a little bit of inspiration from Tommy Hilfiger, who of course is the king of stripes for this look. And what we've seen is a lot of elevated knitwear. So we're seeing knitwear being worn for day but also for night, and I just love this. It's actually two separate pieces. I'm going to start off with the cute little necklace that we're seeing there. It's it's just something a bit different. We've seen a lot of kind of statement necklaces, but they're different this season than anything we've seen before. And I love a good knit because I think something like this is a great example of taking a look from day to night really easily. This is from Elmay Boutique in Dundalk, and the buyer in Elmay always has something really different. She buys pieces that you won't see elsewhere. So I think if you're looking for something really unusual and different, it's the place to go. I love this little bag. We've seen a return to small bags for the preppy trend. The big ones are still great for your everyday bag, but small little boxy bags is where it's at. But I just loved this two-piece the minute I fell in love with it. The trousers are preppy. We are seeing wide legs everywhere. The skinny trousers have retired for the moment. They mightn't be gone forever, but they are just so fashionable and functional. Michelle has just told me how comfortable they are to actually wear, and they're lined as well, which is lovely. They're just really, really cool, and it's a nice way to do preppy without looking like you're in fancy dress, because sometimes if you go too far with the trend, they're not that wearable. And as you can see, I started with a boot here just to add a little bit of height. Yeah, nice soft boot from Pennies. Very comfortable, very affordable, and again, just a really great wearable look.
Because even our athletes, even the leggings now are all flared.
Yes, the tracksuits are flared now.
Get caught in the spin bike.
This is huge.
This is giving Gossip Girl, as you mentioned.
Yes, they're on the steps of the Met. Yeah,
they are. And I love the way Gossip Girl, I suppose the preppy trends that we saw in that originally have really evolved now, and we are seeing a lot of these gorgeous blouses. What I love about the preppy trend is if you get a really good blouse, you can rock it with everything, and this one from Rant and Rave is just ticking all the boxes. It's got the wine, which is the colour of the season. It's got the pearl details, which gives a nod to the preppy, and it has also got the herringbone, which of course is sort of like a posh print and goes very well with the theme. She's wearing this gorgeous cord skirt, and I just think it looks really, really good. Again, Rant and Rave have a gorgeous new collection, so there's something for everybody, but this is just super cute. I'm actually wearing the trouser version of the skirt. So definitely, if minis aren't for you, you can get the look with some trousers. And I've styled it with these gorgeous Chanel-inspired pumps from Pennies. These, Danny has assured me, are super comfortable. They're really well priced, and of course Chanel went full preppy with their collection this year, so if you can't invest in the real thing, you know, you can still get the look.
Thank you, Danny.
I love a good designer-inspired purchase.
Natalia, wow.
So Natalia,
this is Gossip Girl, I feel
this is very Gossip Girl, and I think that's where a lot of the designers are actually getting reference points. They used to pick, you know, from movies, and now they're picking from popular television series. This is from Elmay, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. The necklace, the shawl, it's really, really kind of posh preppy. So this is a great look if you have an occasion coming up. It's from Elmay. And again, just in terms of something different, she's really ticking all the boxes. The pearl detail coming in the necklace is giving all of the Chanel vibes. Again, the wrap, it's a really well-priced piece. So, you know, people are looking for presents, they're looking for ways to style up an outfit. So if you wanted to kind of buy into the trend and not invest too heavily, it's a really good way to go. But what I love most about this has to be the dress.
Yeah, I thought it was a two-piece.
Everyone thought it was a two-piece. Yeah, and we had this debate actually, because I myself did initially. So we've got the polo neck kind of jumper, and then it's actually attached, so it's coming through to the tulle, and it also comes in cream, and it's just beautiful. It's so comfortable, and the way it's lined as well, I think this could take anyone, this could take someone to a black tie, this could take someone to a wedding. You could style it down with a biker jacket, chunky boots. The styling potential is, you know, endless, and I think that's what's great. And then adding the little cute bag in from Pennies is giving that kind of preppy vibe, and again, it couldn't be a preppy slot without a loafer.
You're dead right.
Love a good loafer. It's giving Gucci, it's giving a lot of designer inspired looks, but I just think that outfit from Elmay really would take you anywhere.
It's adorable. Emily, thank you so much for coming in and sharing your preppy
Thank you, ladies.
We're ready to get preppy now, aren't we?
Oh, definitely.
Absolutely. Now, earlier on, we made 10-minute tomato and chickpea soup for lunch, and here's how you can copy us.
Sweat the onions and celery in oil and butter for about 5 minutes. Add the smoked paprika and oregano and cook out for a moment before adding the tomatoes, stock and chickpeas and bring to a boil. Blitz and check for seasoning. Garnish with a drizzle of the cream and the parsley.
Oh, she's running back to the sofa.
She was. She had her runners on for that. Coming up tomorrow, we'll be having some top bants with Mr. Russell Carroll Kelly, creator himself, author Paul Howard is stopping by.
Plus, the world of telly is celebrating yet another massive birthday this week. Not as important as R&AM, but sitcom Friends turns 30 tomorrow. So to celebrate, we're testing our knowledge of all things Joey, Rachel and the gang.
I haven't watched it, would you believe? How bad is that? Yeah, I know.
Big
We're going to lose.
You're not on my team.
Now, our resident vet will be telling us how to care for chicks and ducks.
You say that's Friends as well, isn't it?
It's the same thing, yeah.
Oh my God, yeah.
I don't know. And we'll have advice for living with your roommates in your 20s and 30s.
Plus, in the kitchen, we're serving a cheesecake that doesn't need to be eaten off the floor again, like in Friends. Could we be any more excited?
She's not getting any of these references.
No.
I got
if we're having a quiz, you're not on my team. Okay, that's all coming up tomorrow.
You're going to win. You're going to win tomorrow.
Shiva's not here tomorrow. She said she was going to some Italian island. I said, don't be so silly. Sorry.
Oh gosh, I'm only getting that now.
He will be here tomorrow for more excellent jokes like that. You can tune in from
tons
9.
of texts came in
Lots
as well.
of texts come in. Yeah, we were talking about working from home. Michelle texts in if her job told her she had to work from home and not go in and not work from home anymore. She said, "I'd be very disappointed, but it's my job, so I'd have to respect that too."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Brian, I'd be absolutely furious.
Brian, same girl.
Yeah,
So
don't hold back there, my friend. A huge amount of people have to go to work and didn't get the luxury of being at home even through COVID.
Yes,
Francis.
well, if you're front facing, if you're customer service facing, if you're
emergency services.
Healthcare. Yeah.
Anyway, hopefully it won't happen to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Thanks for being with us.
Enjoy the rest of your Saturday.
Yes.
See you tomorrow.
Gone.